This story is entitled Alex the Robot, His Journey from Obsolete in Mercury back to Earth. Once there was a robot whose name was Alex. Alex was not your typical robot. Alex was actually very old. The planet was now in the year 2023 in Earth, and robots now populated the planet, and there were many robots that came on the scene, and the newest robots were solar powered. Unfortunately, Alex was a robot that ran on gasoline and electricity, and he would get made fun of. They'd call him, "Oh, you gas guzzling electric powered robot, get out of here." Finally, the planet felt that they did not need Alex around, so they told him to go to the planet Mercury because Venus just couldn't sustain him, and other planets just weren't feasible. So the planet that at least he could survive on was Mercury. So Alex was on the planet Mercury, and while this was going on, Richard Branson had his spaceships flying. He'd been to different planets, different solar systems and galaxies. Things were very different now that there were solar-powered robots that could help to complement and serve human beings. And unfortunately, the need for gas-powered and electric robots were needed, so the services of Alex were unfortunately gone, which was very sad. Over time, there came on the scene another robot whose name was Johanna, and she was a gas guzzling, quote unquote, electric powered robot, much like Alex. And of course, ergo, she got sent to Mercury as well. And over time, I mean, what are you going to do when you're sitting on a planet trying to survive life and people don't want you on Earth? You make the best you do, and they became friends, became good friends, best friends. And even though they were robots, they had the technology was put in place that they could experience emotions, much like what Data on Star Trek was able to experience. So they had that chip. So they'd experience love and affection and hurt and anger and fear and what have you. And so as much as they were robots, they still had human qualities, and so robots complemented humans quite nicely. And over time, they grew very fond of each other and love, and they were dating, and then they wanted to feel what it was like to be as human as possible, even though they were created by human beings. So they got married. They were able to have link-ups on occasion to planet Earth, and so they using video chat and the web functioning that they had, they were able to get in contact with the Justice of Peace, who performed their ceremony, and they got married. And because they were robots, they had no ability to have children, so they were able to find scraps of metal and paper and wires and strings and what have you, and they created a female robot daughter named Medulla. And so Medulla and Johanna and Alex tried to, live as much as possible, as normal as possible, as robots on the planet Mercury. And even though robots did not have the qualities that that humans had, like a soul, they still had something, that there was a spark that said, there's something more to this than some big bang. So they they had some, as much as they had the affection and love like humans, in that there was a connection to God. So that was another reason why they wanted to get married. And yeah, Medulla really couldn't get bigger. Well, I mean, I guess to a point she did, but she was a robot, so it's kind of hard to have a robot grow up. But they still treated her. They did have birthdays, and every year Alex and Johanna would have that birthday celebration for Medulla, and would treat her for the age that she was, and not for an age that she was. They didn't treat her like a baby. I mean, obviously she wasn't a typical child. She was a robot child. And over time, what ended up happening was is the solar powered robots, the 679 models that were supposed to be great and supposed to be the cream of the crop and not supposed to break down, they broke down and they weren't working to the potential. So then basically